Thank you, I think, Julia. With friends like that, eh? Well, good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me? This is a really quite a surreal experience not being able to hear yourself on a speaker. But good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming along 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon to hear about pensions. You guys are hardcore, but thank you anyway. So yes, my name's Jonathon Dowden. I'm the category manager for people products at Sage. So I and my team look after the products such as Sage 50 Payroll, Sage HR, P11D, some of our biggest products in this space. But today, didn't want to talk to you specifically about the suite of products. What we want to talk to you about today is the massive opportunity that automatic enrollment gives you guys to add significant value to your clients. And also talk a little bit about the really cool features that Payroll, God, not cool and Payroll in the same sentence. Now, you don't hear that very often, do you? But the really cool ways in which Payroll can help you help your clients around automatic enrollment. So, could I just start with a show of hands? How many of you are processing payroll for clients? Good for you. How many of you have already planned to offer automatic enrollment services? And those are additional services to what you provide? Great. So what I'd like to start with is, well, for many clients and for many small businesses out there, automatic enrollment seems really simple. And really, when you think about automatically enroll, so great. You need to be enrolled, I'll do it automatically. Fantastic. When you pay in, your boss pays in too. Well, that's great, isn't it? I pay in, you pay in. If I don't pay in, you don't pay in. That's really quite a simple concept to grasp. Or my personal favorite, we're all in. So if I'm in, you're in, everyone's in, and everyone here's in, well, surely it can't be that difficult. And even Karen and Theo think so. And they're off the telly. So if we're all in, Karen and Theo are all in, it must be dead simple. I'm an SME, I can just ignore everything about automatic enrollment because I don't need to prepare early. And let's face it, what does a client think early means? Usually what, 2 months, 3 months? I mean, that is, sorry? Absolutely. Some people are staging dates here, they're way over here, and they think, oh, I'll maybe think about it now. But this is embedding this myth that actually automatic enrollment is a simple thing. But then you start to look at the small print. You can opt out. Gradual rollout over several years. Qualifying criteria apply. You start to begin, actually, workplace pensions, we're all in. Well, we're all in, except if you're under 22, you overstay pension age or less than the threshold, you're not a UK worker, you opt out, you've postponed, you leave a scheme, your employer's not staging yet, you have an existing arrangement, or you have an earnings spike, you're in a probationary period, or your employer's using postponement. All of that creates an absolutely massive headache for employers. And it's a headache that actually can quite easily turn into a migraine. They've got complicated, incredibly complex legislation to get their hands around. With that legislation, they've got massive new responsibilities that they have to comply with. It's their responsibility. To top all that, potentially they can view significant amounts of administration because they're going to have to do work, they're not going to be able to escape it. And also, an increased financial burden. How many of your clients currently offer pensions to their workforce? The absolute majority of businesses, SMEs in this country, do not offer occupational pension schemes. So not only have you got all of that, you've also got to think about finding the cost for the contributions and actually administrating something that you have never had to deal with before. And where will all of these employers, all of your clients, look for a solution? Yep. That's right. They're good old accountants. And what an opportunity that is. Because the thing that you've got that no one else has is that you have a solution. You have a simple solution. You have a solution that's already in place, that's already resourced and understood by some of your most talented people within your practices, and that solution is payroll. Now, I bet none of you saw that one coming. But it's true. Payroll offers a huge opportunity and an amazing solution for you to be able to add increased value to your clients. So, how does payroll play a role in this? So, for many people, automatic enrolment is pensions. It's a pensions issue. I mean, if you think about it, the pensions regulator, independent financial advisors, pension funds, well, that's all pensions, isn't it? It's not, payroll traditionally associated with HMRC, RTI. Are we still enjoying RTI, everyone? And all of that's payroll. But actually, what we have to, the problem might not be in payroll, but the solution is absolutely in payroll. A beautiful solution, a simple solution, a really cool solution that you can bring to your employer's problem. And there are three big reasons for this. So firstly, the data's already there. So all of that information that you need for automatic enrolment, it is already there sitting in your payroll system. So that's the first thing. There is less risk if you handle it or you're able to deploy a solution that keeps all of that data in the payroll. How many of you have come across pensions middleware currently? Some of you? Well, just to give you a quick explanation, where the risk comes is that middleware is something that would sit outside of your payroll product. And what you would do is you would get through if those of you familiar with payroll, you would go through, you'd enter your payments, and then your payroll process would stop. You would stop, you would then send information into this middleware product. That middleware would have to do a load of calculations. So you've got a risk there, because any time you transfer data from one place to another outside two separate systems, obviously you're incurring risk of whether it's corruption or whether it's any problems that you might encounter. That product does its job. Maybe it does assessment, correlation, enrollment, everything else, then sends paid data back into your payroll, and you can then continue the payroll process. So that is really risky. Where you get away from the risk of that is if you can handle all of the tasks that you need to do for automatic enrolment within your payroll solution. Because then it's just a case of a few extra clicks, a bit of time to assess the employee, but it's all done within there. So if you're keeping everything there is much less risk. Does that make logical sense? And then finally, your team are trained. They know payroll, God help them. They know how the product works. They know how the Sage system and it all works. So you've already got trained people. You don't have to think about bringing new people in to administer automatic enrolment, because everything you need is already there. So if you process payroll, you cannot escape automatic enrolment. And I think that is generally a view that's now being come to by many accountants and bureaus. Because at first, I think a lot of people thought, oh, well, we're going to push pensions out there. It's not for me. We don't want to get involved. But there's a couple of things to think about there. You can do that, of course. You could push that out. But how many times do your clients submit their timesheets and everything on time, for example? Ever happened yet? Has it happened yet? So when you then think about you've got to then incur an extra delay into the process by shipping it out, what then potentially happens is that actually you still get all the hassle and the headaches caused by automatic enrolment, but you get none of the extra value that you can add to your clients. So really, it's a case of, it's here, you can't get away from it, your clients can't get away from it, so let's grab the opportunity with both hands and let's make it a really, really good experience for all those employers out there. So it's a great, great opportunity to increase that value exchange and build a better relationship, we'd argue. So there are 3 automatic enrolment nightmares within the whole automatic enrolment scenario. So the first one is cost, as we had before. How are employers going to actually cost this out? So you've all seen, for instance, the percentages are currently defined within the legislation that you employer and employee contributions. But if we're going to fill this massive gargantuan pensions gap, those percentages of contributions have to go northwards pretty quickly. Because let's face it, if they stay the same, well, in old age, you're not even going to be able to afford a cup of coffee, never mind holidays and everything else and a decent standard of living. So planning is going to be really, really essential, not just now, how you get over the initial hump, but also how you plan and how businesses incorporate that into their business planning moving forward. Because you've got all the data, because you've got the expertise, you've already in a brilliant position to help there. The second is administration. Now, no matter what, so an employer is going to is fortunate to have you guys processing their payroll every week or every month, but there is still going to be elements of administration that they're going to have to do to help you to be able to carry out the administration of automatic enrolment. But we can help you and help them deal with that. And then it's also the time factor. Because you've got potentially, if you're using Sage, you've got a solution that actually can be embedded within the product, then one, you can save a lot of time for you in terms of how you can offer these services to your clients without incurring additional costs yourselves, but also reduce the time that your employers have to actually worry about automatic enrolment. So, how do you help your clients sleep? That's actually one of our team on the research project for automatic enrolment. I used to have a full head of hair, actually, before we started this journey. But hey, the things that you do to help businesses. So we have two things. We have the Automatic Enrolment Edition, which really focuses on the preparation for automatic enrolment. And we have the Pensions module, which covers integration of the automatic enrolment scenario solutions within the product. So let's think about cost. How can you help your clients deal with the cost for automatic enrolment? Well, how many of you are working with IFAs at the moment for your clients? Anyone? Come on to that in a minute, but something I would strongly urge you to look at. But so say your clients need to start working out, well, okay, what pension do I need for my employees? What pensions can be right for my business? What are the costs of those businesses? Well, within the product, you should be able to easily just click a mouse, run a report, which gives them all of the data that they need to be able to go and have an informed conversation with an IFA, or to work with you or whoever your colleagues to start to work out how much is automatic enrolment going to cost me now, how much is it like to cost me in the future, and also what happens if there's a pay rise. So it all might very well, but it's great now, but the economy is starting to look a bit more buoyant. We're seeing the early shoots. People will want pay rises. I believe they do happen. So how does that impact? Because these are all elements that our customers need to understand. And within our products, you can run those reports really, really simply, which again allows you to build that into your advice and your services on automatic enrolment. Then, what about the administration? That's the thing that terrifies businesses. How will they cope with assessing the workforce, enrolling the workforce, then dealing with opt-outs, opt-ins? Now we can provide with the administration provide. We can help you provide a complete end-to-end solution, which starts with how your clients start to understand their responsibilities with automatic enrolment. How many of you just to show of hands, how many of you would say that your clients are actually really well versed in automatic enrolment right now? Well, one lady down here. So basically, on a scale to 1 to 10, generally, small business or SMEs' knowledge of automatic enrolment is probably about 2 at best, would you say? So how do you educate them on that? Because it's not something that they can just give to you to deal with. So that's very important, that education piece. Then preparation, how they need to adapt their business processes. So we already mentioned about RTI and timesheets and everything else, but there needs to be absolutely clear guidelines, clean boundaries as to where things come in. And I know this is easier said than done, but in order for all of these steps and all of these responsibilities to be carried out and this processing to be done, then that's going to be even more important with the compressed timeframes of RTI. And then how you help them prepare for staging and then actually taking control and bringing it so that it is simply business as usual. And that is very important. Then, in terms of the time, well, how can you help your clients get up to speed and create a plan for automatic enrolment? How many of you have got, any of you got clients who have already staged? No, so it's all very new. So how do you take the staging date, which is the most critical date in the whole process, and help them work from now to put all of the steps in place to get to a point where they're ready to stage? And also, how do you track progress, whether that's within your teams to make sure that everything's being done in the right place, in the right order, and that you're ticking things off again. Again, this is all embedded within the Sage product, so it's there for you to use and be able to use that to create those services for your clients. And then provide them with progress reports and keep regular updates. All available, and we can arrange some demos after the session if anyone would like to see it or haven't seen it yet, as to how it's literally just a quick click and away you go. And then if we think about, well, what about happens when, okay, you've prepared your clients, they've then had a complete change of heart, they're now sending to you everything on time when you need it. We can live in hope, can't we? Then how do you handle the ongoing administration, which is the real, if the preparation's the tip of the iceberg, this is the real stuff that's going to be with you in every single pay run. How many of you do weekly pay runs? Okay, couple. Rest of you monthly? Okay, that's easy. It's slightly easier with monthly. You've got a bit more time. Weekly is more critical, but we'll help you there as well. So you bring in a pension module. You integrate it right into your payroll solutions. As I've said, you go through, you do your payroll, you enter the payments, you click a button, and you then kick off the assessment, the categorization, the enrollment. The payroll product should absolutely do that for you. And at Sage, we do that. We'll then assess all of your employees. We'll put them in the right categorizations, just waiting for you to say, yes, you're happy with that, and they're done. If you print reports for your clients, you can send that via email, CSV, anything else you like. You can also do postponement. Have you started talking to your customers about postponement yet? And how, say, postponement, obviously, if you make an assessment, someone might then turn 22. What if an employee has a pay spike? So what, for one pay period, they do a few extra hours, it boosts them up, they become an eligible job holder, but you know for a fact, given on the whole history, that actually you don't want to enroll them because they're just going to then come out or cease membership. Well, you can set all of that within the product so that you can actually make automatic enrollment as cost-effective and as efficient as possible for your clients, because you put the rules in, the product will then just pick them up, and when you need to, you just click postpone. It'll show you the list of employees who are eligible for postponement, and all you've got to do is click through and say yes, 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 no, no, done. Can you imagine the amount of value that gives to your clients? That you can handle all of that. You can say, well, what do you want me to do when people turn 22? What do you want me to do if people have a pay spike? You can you can have this conversation, build this plan with your clients, then put it in the product, and the product does the rest. Opt-ins, opt-outs, similarly. No trawling through data, which will long lists of employees, which will cost you time and therefore create cost for you. Just go in, click the button. It'll give you the right employees that you can opt in or you can opt out, and away you go. Great. How many of you are talking to pension providers at the moment? Anyone had any conversations yet? Yep. One of the key relationships that you're going to have is how you get that data from you. You do all the process. You now know who needs to be enrolled in a pension, or ongoing you need to send the contribution information to the pension provider. The payroll product must be able to do that for you. Now, we would all love for it just to all work the same way as perhaps the data transfer between payroll and HMRC works, but a huge number of pension providers, believe it or not, every single one of them wants the same information sometimes in different columns, or they might call information different things. So it is a massive challenge for payroll to address that. Again, each payroll provider will work with different pension providers, but there are some main key providers who are really big in the space. We're working with quite a number which will allow you then to click a button and export or generate reports to export the data that the pension provider needs in the right format at the right time, so that that can be as smooth as possible. It has been an absolute huge task to be able to define all of that, and it is something that we will constantly improve upon. And of course, you know what these things are like. Pension providers will change their requirements, and we will adapt accordingly. And then, I don't know whether you've had any feedback from clients on this, but the biggest concern that came out of our very significant research project in Automatic Enrolment was employee communications. So if you've read any of the TPR guidance, you have to speed on that, you know that you have to send the right communications with the right copy as defined by the regulator to an employee at the right time. Have any of you considered how you're going to do that yet? No? Oh, well, I can just to reassure you, if you want, we can do it all. The product can do it for you. So what we've done is we've worked down and managed these letters down to a small number, all been approved by the TPR. That basically the letters so the addresses, remember the pain you went through in RTI, getting your client's data right? Getting rid of the 900-year-old employees, Mrs. XXX, and all of those interesting characters. Well, because you got all that data and you got all that in, then if you've got those personalized letters can be generated by the product. Can be either, if you've got email addresses in now, fantastic, because they can then just click a button and those letters can be sent by email. And then also when that happens, then obviously they should be then attached to the employee's individual record. So if there's any queries, or God forbid an inspection by the pensions regulator, all of that communication showing that these letters were sent at this date by this person will be in the payroll product for you to generate the reports and show or if your client asks, this is what happened. Because the audit trail is going to be so critical moving forward. I'm sure many of you, obviously, while you're eating your lunch, you might read the Accounting Web or those other accounting titles, and we've already seen some of the big retailers getting fines because they haven't complied with the legislation. It's vital that we provide all of that for you so that you will always have that backup. So, the next thing to think about, if you've got the solution within the payroll product to be able to administer and work with and deliver this added value for your customers, well, it's not just about payroll, it is about pensions. And one thing we'd say that we found is about creating that automatic enrollment team for your clients. And where we see is it's absolutely for many businesses that you will be the absolute white knight on a white horse coming galloping towards them to save them from the nightmare of automatic enrolment. Absolutely. You were there for them with RTI, you're there for them every quarter when they submit their VAT return, and you will be there for them yet again with automatic enrolment. Payroll is going to be the tool that is going to help you add significant value, but also think about how you can work with independent financial advisors, because many of your clients will not have a clue about pensions. They'll have never been there before, they've never paid pension before, so how will they get the right advice to make sure that they're confident that they're making the right choices? So bringing IFAs in is also really important, and it's something that we've done a lot of work with at Sage, because us, like I would imagine many of you, pensions is not our business. Payroll is, and we can help businesses with the business processes. But offering that service is another great additional service which will add a lot of value. So we would argue that an integrated solution for automatic enrolment is the only way that really automatic enrolment can be made simple for you as bureaus and accountants, and also for your clients. Anything that involves in bringing in delays for moving data outside of that product is bound to cause problems at some point. So what we'd really advise is that your employers need to prepare early. And I know that's very, very difficult to actually get many times to get them to do that. But as we move forward now and if you look at the profiles of employers staging next year and the year after, the noise around automatic enrolment is going to get definite. And especially you see more and more people getting fined for non-compliance, and more news as many thousands of employers have to start enrolling people into pensions. The earlier they can start preparing and the earlier you can start helping them, is earlier that you can start exploiting this opportunity and adding real value. The team, well, fortunately you've got a team there in your business to help you, but creating that team with external advisors and any other advice you can bring in, and then obviously creating the plan for your clients, which hopefully you'll find that some of the stuff that we've done within our products will help you enormously with that. So really that's where we see. I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming along here, 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon to listen to me, Jonathon, about pensions.